So I think I have most of this chapter really well scripted or noted. So I'll hopefully do my best to record that in this video. Um, but also, let me double check this is recording. Yeah, audio is working. Okay. So it starts off with introducing new types of verb, which are kind of like these a verbs, which have a ma sort of system to them. And basically, I guess the numbering for the radicals is changed, where the first consonant will be a 2, then a 3, and then sometimes it'll get doubled, so 2, 2, then it'll become a 3. And then if it's doubled like this, it'll be type B. If it's not, it'll be type A. So ma der, only one consonant, it has an MA, so you know it's this new version type A. Whereas mod des, which is to repair, that has a doubling here, so we know that it's to repair. Honestly, I don't think it really matters that much. I can't tell the difference on this doubling, like just hearing it. And that's kind of mentioned later on in a little bit of an issue, but yeah. Oh, also, I'm just double checking going here from here. These type B verbs kind of continue the trend of having this E before the final consonant transferred into an I in the imperfective, and then even the short imperfective, which is, you know, what the imperfective is actually technically based off of. Yeah. So causative verbs in I and A. So I think this is part they try to give you examples without explaining anything, so I just kind of left it. So causative verbs in A. So some verbs have like a they kind of call it a simple meaning, but like maybe just like a regular meaning. And then if you change the E to an A, now has a causative meaning, meaning it's like causing the action to happen. And I think a way that I kind of think about it to help simplify it is to make something happen. Maybe easier with an example. So medres is the example here, which means to arrive, right? Madres means to take or to cause to arrive. If you just make it like to make arrive is how you kind of understand this MA flipping of it, then you kind of get the idea here. Same thing here. Memtat is to come. Mamtat means to bring, which is another way of thinking like to make come is like to make it like move over here to bring. Mekreb, which means to come near. Make it makreb, you flip it, now it has a causative meaning, to bring near, to present, to fetch. Really hard, in my opinion, to think about it like this because there's so many verbs, and you'll even find out that there are some that have this MA thing, and they're not necessarily causative in nature. But sometimes you'll have ME verbs, and then they'll have an A form, and then it's causative in nature. So maybe it is just like all the ME verbs, or like a lot of ME verbs that have the ability to have a causative form if they are changed to an A or to an AS as in here. That's like a way you can maybe cheat the system. Like you can think in advance of like how to say to make this action happen. But I'm not 100% sure. And then here's just a reminder that like because the word now begins with an A, when you conjugate it in certain ways, it's going to replace the I that comes in certain conjugations. So like here, like metat to come, met allos al come, or yemet alis he'll come. But when you make it into an A, that A will overpower the I. So amt allo I'll bring, yemet al he'll bring. And I think I tried to show that also here, like even back in like unit 6.3, like verbs in A lose the I of the prefixes as in auk Allah no yada you spent the night because I don't know, the A just replaces the I that normally this like first person here would have this I here or this I here. It just gets overpowered, and yeah. And I think actually in another section, like earlier notes, I explained this better. I think in like maybe 12, I explained it better. Yeah. Anyway, continuing on. Same idea, but with AS verbs. So megbat is to enter. Make it into maskebat is he'll cause something to enter. Mefelig is to look for or he want or to want. Oh, and I guess it's also showing like, you know, the perfective form or it's felig like he looked for or he wanted. You make it masfelig or asfelig. It's like he had someone look for something. And a new special meaning because masfelig is a bit of an irregular, like saying it was necessary. Really important word for conjugations like yasfelig yal is how you say I needed. Yasfelig hal is how you say you needed. Yasfelig shal. Yada yada yada. Pretty important word. Then it also says that you can use as like a prefix to like nouns, and then you get verbs out of it, like derset is narrative. Asterese is he caused to narrate. I don't get that, to be honest, but I guess it's just something to keep in mind. Um, yeah. Um, A verbs never have an A prefix, but they may have an AS prefix. The form with the AS prefix may either have a transitive or causative meaning. Um, I guess like it's trying to say like Mayat can't will never have like an A form of the verb, which I guess makes sense because Mayat is like already um has an A, like it already has like the A here, like you can't have like an A form of it, but it can have an AS form of it. So it's showing the perfective forms here, but like you would imagine Mayat would be here, which means to see. Aya means he saw. Masayet means to show or like to cause to see or to make see. So, to show. And then Asayet is he showed. So by adding this AS, you now get a new meaning. And this can either have a transitive or causative meaning. So transitive is something that you can do to something else. As I remember, if I remember correctly, for transitive verbs, like give. Like if I give something to someone, I'm like sort of transferring something to someone. Like I can do it to someone. I can give someone something. I can show someone something. Maybe Malef is a better example. So Malef would be here. Aleph is he passed, right? I don't know what I don't know what it's supposed to be indicating, but Masalef is like to cause to pass. It actually has three potential meanings for like Aselefe. It can mean he passed, which I think is the normal form. He spent, which would be the transitive verb, because when you spend something, you give money to someone else, so it's like a thing that you can transfer over to someone else. Um, or it can mean like a causative interpretation of saying he caused something to pass. Um, yeah, hopefully that makes sense. All causative AS verbs formed from three radical verbs type A and B are type B. So like if you turn it from like a three radical and it's type A or type B, it becomes type B in the end no matter what. I don't think this really matters that much personally. Um, so yeah, continuing on. Passive reflexive verbs. So it gives you a bunch of examples again without explaining things, which I don't like. Um, basically, I think it actually starts explaining it here. It takes words like to divide maybe, and it transforms them into a way of saying like you are the state of the thing that was being described. Like to divide is one thing, and then to be divided, like you're becoming the state of the thing that it was in the active form before. So how do you do that? I think the first thing it tries to tell you is that yeah, is by adding a te and a t before a to the perfective stem of verbs. So kafala is he paid, tekafala is it was paid, awaka is he knew, tawaka is it was known, sara is he did, tesara it was done. Nice, simple system, works really well in my opinion. Um, there are no passive reflex forms for causative verbs in A and S. Instead, there's passive term, which is based on the simple form as both the causative and meaning. Yeah, I'm trying to find like, yeah, it explains it a little bit down here. No, yeah. See, it starts off with explaining the perfective form, so, and then it kind of mentions something really important later. But I'll try to continue with the book for a bit. So, instead there is there are no passive reflexive forms of causative verbs in A and S. So causative verbs are things that I guess you cause to happen, right? Like masfällig. Yeah. Okay. So I remember what it's saying. Instead, there's a passive reflexive in the te, which is based on the simple form and has both the basic and causative meaning. Right. So megbot means to enter. He caused to enter. Interesting. um, okay. Megbot is he entered, right? Askeba is he caused to enter is what I thought it. I don't know. I don't know if this is like a mistake. Maybe we should do Mayat. Let's just do Mayat. Mayat he saw. Masayat is to cause to see or to show. Asaya is he showed, right? The passive form of it would be like to be seen, right? You don't actually, the passive reflexive form is the way I think this is meant to be addressing, where like it's the state of the thing. You can't just throw a T onto it. There's no ta asaya. You don't do that. You throw the T on to the simple form of the perfective. and it becomes taya, and it has two meanings. It can either be he saw it, like it was seen, or it was shown. Um, and even this one, tegeba, as he was married, it can have like a whole different meaning, I guess. Um, yeah. There are verbs with a causative a prefix which have no corresponding independent simple form. The meaning of these verbs. Let me scroll down here. Um, yeah, I think even my notes are kind of confusing. Um, um, yeah, have no independent simple form. The meaning of these verbs may not reflect any causative nature. However, the verbs have passive reflexive form which are constructed on the simple base, not the one like other causative verbs. So basically, um, madreg means to do, right? Adrege means he did. Um, I don't know, like to cause to do, like it may not necessarily have a form like that. Maybe there is like a masdereg, um, but if you wanted to make it passive reflexive, um, you would um, not throw a T basically in front of this. You would like just replace it and make it tederege. And I think that's what I tried to say here. Um, it was done. It seems like they just took the A because the book said there's another form of the word without the ma infinitive. Like I don't really know why, I guess, but if you want to make it passive, like madreg, tederege was done. Magnet is to find, agnia is he found. If you want to say um, it was found, te agnia, he such it was found. Amesegen, he praised. If you want to make it like it was praised, temesgen, continuing on in that fashion. Here it mentions a really important thing. So this is all stuff about the perfective, but here it's going to start mentioning how to turn the infinitive and imperfective. Like how do you delineate from the infinitive and imperfective? You don't just throw here you can throw a T in front of it and it's a pretty functioning system. But here it says notice in all the examples given so far, the passive reflex prefix T has come before the beginning of the verb. However, if there should be another prefix before the passive reflexive verb, including me of the infinitive form, and then of course the imperfective prefix of ye, then the form of the passive reflex form is not with a te, but it's a doubling of the initial consonant. So mekfel usually has one K, but it becomes mekefel, to be paid. Yekefilal is he will be paid or it will be paid in the imperfective, as opposed to yekefalal, which is he will pay, versus yekefilal is he will be paid, or and yeah. So I called my pops about it and asked him to pronounce a bunch of these in the passive reflexive form versus I guess the normal form, the active form maybe, and they're very similar. Actually, they're the same word except this, these doubled consonants last for half of a second longer than the normal form, and based on that you should be able to listen and interpret that you're talking about something being in a passive reflex form or a state of it being done. Really awful. And then another kind of edge case of let's say the verb, these all are verbs that begin with an ME for the prefix, right? So what happens if you have a word that begins with an MA? So mawek is to know, right? What it's saying is if the prefix T of the A verb has the shape TT when it occurs. I don't even really know why it's saying it like this. Basically, mawek will become metawek. It's gonna have a met put in front of the MA, in front of the A of the word, and that's you're gonna get it to the passive reflexive form, where mawek is to know, metawek is to be known, oh my gosh, awekal is it will be known or he will be known, as the form, as opposed to yakawel is he will know. Yeah, it's just edge case of if it's an MA word, I think it just becomes met, whatever it is. And even modis, which means to repair, metadis, you can see becomes to be repaired, follows that. Yeah, I think more just formatting of verbs, and you just have to skip all that. I think all my notes are basically saying that as well here. Important is malet is an irregular in its passive reflexive form, which means to be said. Mebal would be it. Tebale would be the perfective form of it was said, and yibelal is it will be said. This is how you always say something is called. I don't know, if you have a car and you say its name is Lexi, maybe for like Alexa, Lexi, like Lexi Balala or something. Like it is called Lexi. That's just how I always use it. Um, the preposition used with the passive form corresponding meaning to English by is be. So what this is trying to say is like if you are having a passive reflex form of a verb, tekefele, right, which means, I wish, I think somewhere, it was paid, right? If there's a be involved attached to a noun, then you know who was doing or causing um, this passive reflexive state to happen. So genzebu is the money, by kebeda, it was paid. The money was paid by kebeda. Mesafu is the book. Be'esu is by him, right? Tesafe, like it was written, like the book, it was written by him. The book is written by him, right? Super weird, really annoying, kind of just chucked in there. I wish it was like kind of more clearly indicated, but yeah. Then we get into a whole section about verb classification and notation. So the book is starting to say like, okay, only infinitive form of the verbs are going to be given from now on, and from that information, you should be able to categorize them and then give their perfective and imperfective forms. And there's a lot of verb forms here, and I didn't care about it. I mean, I think it'll be important to like look at madres and be like, oh, this is a causative type a verb, and this is how it will become imperfective and versus perfective, and difference between the two radical. Like it's just too much for me. I don't think it has much good to get out of being explained in the video recording. Anyway, so not much left. These are actually more chilled out parts. So ke with the perfective form. That means if. So lelam aynet kefellegu. Fellegu is like they wanted. Kefellegu is if they wanted. Lelam aynet is like a different thing. Mesarat and chalalen, like we can make a new one. If you want some other kind, we can prepare it. Ke repeats the perfect form, expresses simple condition. Yeah, this basically says like the bit with the short imperfective thing we learned in chapter 14 or unit 14 is the exact same as this essentially, but the kev form is apparently a little more dubious. I wouldn't even care about that. Like bimeta herallo, if he comes, I'll go. Kemeta herallo, if he does come, I'll go. Same to me. Really important to memorize the forms of ke with alle. So ka'allen is if I have ka'alle, if you have ka'allish, if you have ka'allo, if he has ka'allat, if she has ka'allin, if we have ka'allacho, if you have kalalacho. Kalacho is if they have. And then even the negative form, like with yelle, kalelen is if I don't have, kalele if you don't have, and continues on. Maybe doing a quick example. Genzeb ka'allen, if I have money. Setallo, I will give you money if I have some. Genzeb kalelo, if he does not have money. When he send him a bait, I hit him. Like he won't go to the movie, he doesn't have any money, right? Cat can also mean since. It's saying like when the verb of the main clause is in the past tense and ka is attached to it, and then that can mean since. And then sometimes it also will optionally throw in the post word gemito, but it may not be there. This is kind of tough to me because it's gonna look really similar to this version of you just throw ka in front of the perfective form of verb, and that means if. Same idea here, and if you don't add gemito, like I guess you just have to use context clues to know that it's talking about since rather than if. So Beit Ayin is my house. Ke astes shoot. So I think this is supposed to be mastes, which is I think to cause to repair, because mades is to repair, mastes, and then astes shu, with like this hu suffix, meaning like I caused it to be repaired, and then the t is like I caused it to be repaired. I guess in this case it's supposed to be since I caused my house to be repaired. Sost amit honta, like it has been 3 years since I caused my house to be repaired. Lidje Addis Ababa kehere, so my kid, since he went to Addis Ababa, because I know it's going to be that, not like if he went. Debdabe al salefenium, so or al sefelenium. So mesaf is to write. Safe is he, like he wrote. Safelin. I'm not pronouncing it well at all, but it's like he wrote to me, and then al selefenem is like he has not done that. Like my son has not written me a letter. I would say like my son has not written me a letter since he left for Addis, right? Fekad apparently is permission. I didn't know that. Ke'agenu is like since they had, I guess in this case, permission. Bizuk Erhon, that's been maintained since they had permission. Genzeb Kaagenya Gemero. So here it is with like the Gemero, um, I guess postword, which I guess will help give connotation to what you're talking about. So Genzeb, since he had money, uh, or since he found money, Serawen Al Seram, like he hasn't worked since he found money. He did not work from the time he got money. Yeah. Okay. Um, the use of preposition is the same preposition which is used in the tense of since. Oh, yeah, like you can use ka and it means from if you use it with like nouns, but if you do ka, the noun and then gemero, then you can get that since meaning. So ka meskaram gemero genzab alagenum. Meskaram is September, so ka meskaram gemero from since September. Genzab is money. Al agenhum is like I found, but I've not found money since September. I got money September, so unfortunate. Kalefo Summit. I just know this is before for some reason. Gemero, so like since last week. What did you I haven't gone to school since last week. Yeah. Lastly, this Gemero thing may also be used in combination with iski dedis, which means from and then up to. My hint when I was writing notes for this to myself, and I didn't really go to my notes too much because I was just kind of looking at this because I think I have a decent understanding of just pointing and looking at stuff. My hint is just literally plugging in whatever you see ka Gemero with, just say that it's from, and then whatever you see iski dedis, say up to, and then whatever happens, and the meaning hopefully will come out and make sense. So Addis Ababa Gemero, just saying from Addis Ababa Bakka, or just starting there. Iski Harer Deres, up to Harer, that's it. From Addis Ababa up to Harer, that's all I'm doing with that interpretation. Amist Meto, which is 500 kilometer. Yahil is approximately or about, and then no it is. So from Addis Ababa to Harer, it's approximately 500 kilometers. It's about 500 kilometers from Addis Ababa to Harer, right? Kazari Gemero, from today. Iski Sostword Deres, so up to 3 months. And I'll just kind of interpret that as from now. Izia Goyallo. So from today up to 3 months from now, I will wait here. I'll be here for 3 months starting today. So that's kind of my explanation for everything. Hopefully that makes sense.